My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This is the entity taking off over the amphitheater and hovering over the town square based on my position. This is relevant positioning, stalking. Very detailed stalking with regard to every move I make. Monitoring is what this is. And the entity is doing so in concert with the people of the state who are in engineered light stalking a woman in the middle of the night. This is the mentally ill population. This is the entity that's doing so. Now, when I'm at the library right over here, that's when they're flying over the library, flying in this direction, hovering over the apartment complex, hovering over the Wells Fargo. They're not flying over there. They're flying now over the amphitheater. Okay, that's the entity that is gang stalking me, and it is based on where I'm at, and the entity is stalking in the middle of the night. This is the P.O.C. All right, he's stalking with a gang of demons. They're stalking together. This is stalking with a gang of demons. This is why the entity is going to prison and they're being committed. All right, to be up in the middle of the night stalking a woman is somebody that's plotting murder. These are the demons that are engaged in stalking in bathrooms. This is the entity that's obsessed, and that's the entity that's demon possessed. Look at the shadows on both sides of his person. These are demons that do not sleep, and these are demons that are engaged in 24-hour surveillance. There is nothing to talk to me about. I do not know this fool. This is a demon that is gang stalking me with the airport that is getting shut down, being prosecuted for this evidence. That's P.O.C. The entity is very much engaging in what is stalking, flying over an entirely different portion of the same apartment complex. John Stewart apartment, they're flying over the B Street side now, over the amphitheater. That distinct difference is like flying while you're in Upland, California, where there are no airport takeoffs over there either, stalking me. Okay, P.O.C. That's why this freak weirdo comes from behind me in the engineer light while a bunch of gang members are stalking on the roads in the highways. Demons stalking with light. That's what this is. That restaurant's not open. There's nothing open over here. There's demons stalking me in the path. This is what the fake sun's purpose is. Everybody is stalking with light. They're all monitoring. This is mental illness. They're going to be subject to martial law. They're getting committed. This is the people of the state engaged in 24-hour surveillance. You need to know that the Ontario police are mentally ill. This is the mental illness that the Ontario Police Department have. The demons that are stalking in helicopter, this is the mental illness that they have. This is the obsession, this is the ongoing stalking that they have, that they share. They're all stalking together while that demon came up behind me. While the demons flew over by planes. They're stalking together. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's all together. The population all together is getting diagnosed all together. Stalking. This is stalking. There's no train that you can hear over here. These are demons that are mentally ill. P.O.C. Your businesses are being prosecuted at 24 hours a day in the same way that they're engaging in surveillance. The people of the state are engaging in surveillance 24 hours a day. These are the people of the state that are vagina monitors. P.O.C. It is currently, that is led by the U.S. military. They're getting committed. They're all getting committed. This is a demon that's touching with light all the way over here, getting committed. The Ontario police share in that mental illness. The Ontario police are demon possessed. The Ontario police are obsessively stalking me. That's not a police department, and it's not a police department. That's why it's getting disbanded. P.O.C. engaging in criminal activity under the guise of calling yourself a police department. That criminal enterprise is over with. P.O.C. It is currently 12:16 a.m. where the stalkers, on behalf of the government that's stalking me in airplanes, is stalking through the psychopaths who are the people of the state, terrorists. P.O.C. They're going to be living outside. They're going to be living outside. P.O.C. Six Zebra Nancy Kelly 111 stalking in the path, doing so at F as in Frank and Euclid Avenue at what is 5:33 a.m. P.O.C. Stalking in the path at the same intersection. License. This is a male, Robert Apple, 4 Thomas Mary. That's Arizona. And stalking across the street at Raybon Mortgage. Stalking in the middle of the street with light activity at the drug addicts. Distribution for drugs, Aegis is gang stalking with light activity. This is where these license plates are indeed gang stalking. License 8YLM194, monitoring. Lockout Studios is monitoring. Bethel Congregation is gang stalking. They're monitoring. While the people of the state, Laurelwood Apartments, monitoring. Stopping in the middle of the street with the light activity. Laurelwood Apartments at Laurel and F Street. They're all monitoring. This is where the entity is maintaining that light activity, right where I'm documenting these license plates who are indeed stalking in the path. This is P.O.C. It is currently 5:34, psychopathic pacing, license plate, 9 Zebra Thomas 919. These are demons. They're stalking. in furtherance of murder. And this is the prosecution of the Ontario police who are stalking. While the people of the state are stalking, Starbucks is stalking. Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. The P.O.C. is ongoing at what is 5:34 a.m. This is P.O.C. The entity is stalking as I'm going from place to place. This is the government's criminal pattern of conduct with the people of the state who are being prosecuted for stalking together. P.O.C. All right, stalking in the parking lot of El Pescador in the dark. The entity has no lights on and is stalking right across the street at Mission Furniture. I'm taking a picture of this right now. This is the entity that is gang stalking together, stalking as a population. They're going to be prosecuted for conspiracy to murder. Engaging in stalking with the police, 63954 Edward 4 at El Pescador, which is not open right now. This is the entity engaging in conspicuous stalking, and it's even more underscored and clear and obvious in the dark at night when the entity is stalking and lurking in dark parking lots to maintain light activity while they are monitoring with the people. And they're also stalking in traffic. License plate 8BVS 292. License plate. They're stalking. RHRD 720. And stalking across the street is Brightview. This is criminal facilitation, psychopathic pacing. Doing so at Mission Furniture. I took a picture of it already. It's light activity. And Brightview Landscaping. Let me get this on video. This is P.O.C. This is Brightview engaging in criminal facilitation. Brightview is engaged in a documented pattern of federal group stalking and monitoring. This is mentally ill behavior, and it's also criminal facilitation. This is P.O.C. Brightview is stalking with the demons that are in the dark parking lot across the street, crossing path while light activity is provided 49467 David 4. And escaping is engaging in the pattern of conduct at what is Bella Aesthetics, where the people of the state are maintaining that P.O.C. License California 0081686. They're losing licensure for the pattern of conduct that they're engaging in, and including the business and what is the guise for stalking as a business. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 5:38 a.m. Brightview is engaging in activity creation while they then get out of the vehicle and start moving around the bags in the trunk. This is a stalker, and Brightview is a stalker, and it's going on the playlist for prosecute. Brightview, you've been served. You're being given notice, I'm prosecuting you. And Brightview's been gang stalking for years, so I have a body of evidence proving that. And they're stalking me while a demon is in the dark parking lot across the street monitoring with Brightview. License plate 49467 David 4. This is P.O.C. This third party is going to be prosecuted, and they're going to be deported if they're not even a natural born citizen. Our Brightview's employees are going to be. All right, this is the specific environment, so let me show you impossible light activity. You can bend over, look at the opposite direction, put your back to me. This is impossible light activity. He's monitoring. Brightview is creating light activity in furtherance of murder. Brightview is engaged in the conspiracy to commit murder. Brightview is stalking with the Ontario Police Department. Brightview is engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct, targeting me and stalking me on the roads and the highways. They're doing so at Mission Furniture, and I'm prosecuting Mission Furniture. I'm prosecuting Reliable Properties, and I'm prosecuting the people of the state that are on the roads and the highways stalking together. This is the P.O.C. This is where the entity is stalking by planes and helicopters also. This is the entity acting in conformity at G Street and Euclid Avenue, facilitating venue North Euclid Avenue and West G Street at what is 5:39 a.m. This is indeed P.O.C. 49467 David 4 is stalking with the people of the state that are stalking me at the intersections as I'm walking north of Euclid Avenue. This is the people of the state's engagement in that P.O.C. while the entity is stalking with the airline industry as I'm going north of Euclid Avenue. This is that P.O.C. This is, again, 49467 David 4. This is all engineered light across the vehicle. This is all impossible light activity. This is a psychopath. Funny, but this is a psychopath, and I'm prosecuting them for stalking, psychotic behavior by companies, the corporations. This is P.O.C. G Street and North Euclid Avenue. And this is why the Ontario police are being disbanded. That's the P.O.C. I want to document this is terrorism while the entity is stalking, and this is the demon lurking in the monitoring me with Brightview, okay? Engaging in what is stalking in the path to molest with light activity, and this is also where the entity engages in light activity tactics that are also relevant to psychological torture using the property lights. The city will turn the lights on and off as a method of light activity as well. It documented that before as well. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 5:40 a.m. El Pescador is gang stalking. You're being prosecuted. This is exactly why. It will not be based on, oh, nobody was at work. Oh, yeah, they're at work gang stalking. You're being prosecuted for it. This is P.O.C. right, and this is Brightview's engagement in the P.O.C. with the Ontario Police Department Vehicle 1120. That's a male coming to engage in the pattern of conduct upon documentation that he is monitoring. This agency that's stalking at North Euclid Avenue and West G Street. That is the criminal engagement in the P.O.C., criminal facilitation, just like I documented. And the Ontario Police come around confirming that. You're not engaging in any landscaping in the engineer light. That third party is subject to prison. They're already subject to deportation, and Brightview is being federally prosecuted. This is P.O.C. It's criminal facilitation. That's why this demon is stalking in the dark parking lot. All right, that's prison also. I just documented all the license plates and the people of the state that are subject to prison for stalking with that agency that's engaged in stalking, not law enforcement. They're already going to prison. I'm documenting and accumulating defendants' identities who are going to prison with the Ontario Police Department. That's all the Ontario Police provide. More defendants who are going to prison. They're going into mental institutions. That's the entity that's engaging in stalking with the agency that's going to be involuntarily committed. So that's engaging in that. That's facilitation, just like I stated is the case. And the Ontario Police are facilitated and aided in stalking with reliable properties, with facilitating venue North Euclid Avenue and West G Street, where the entity is also at the venue where the entity is stalking under a fake sun rising and setting. Bank of America, that activity is what you see here. This is the entity that is stalking. This is the monitoring conduct, and they're all being prosecuted together, including by corporation. This is P.O.C. El Pescador, okay? Ontario Police, again, they're stalking the entire time. The mentally ill, who are the Ontario Police, conspicuously engage in that at the traffic light with regard to confirming the prosecution of the immigrants, of the gang stalkers, of the co-conspirators of murder, Brightview Landscapes. This is P.O.C. Facilitating that pattern of conduct is the prosecution of such corporations like Brightview who are engaged in surveillance, not landscaping. This is P.O.C. Stalking, license plate 32929 Victor 2, Unicare Carriers, forklift. Stalking with the people of the state, that's amplified audible activity. Stalking together. Molestation, stalking at 1102 North Euclid Avenue at the intersection of 4th Street and Euclid. The Euclid Villas, stalking. The entity that, everything that you hear, these are a bunch of demons. A bunch of dead people are stalking. So they're engaging what is amplified audible activity. That's noise while they're stalking as one in the entity. You can't make noise but for stalking in the first place. They're doing so while I'm documenting them by license plate, by neighborhood, by intersection, okay? And I'm documenting them by city. P.O.C. License plate, stalking. 7 Henry 97035, sexual assault and battery. License 9 Sam Mary Zebra 841, sexual assault and battery. And so is 1102 North Euclid Avenue, sexual assault and battery, which is indicative of the facilitating venue 4th Street and North Euclid Avenue, who are engaged in criminal surveillance and furtherance of murder. And this intersection is gang stalking because the city of Ontario is gang stalking. And this is state action. The people of the state are being federally prosecuted. This includes Chaffee High School, where the entity was stalking by helicopter. So this is ongoing confirmation with regard to evidence that's already on the record. This is P.O.C. It is currently 5:56 a.m. stalking me on the roads and the highways. This is why the people of the state are being removed from the ability to be on the roads and the highways. They will not be maintaining driver's license. This is P.O.C. Me. All right, sexual assault and battery. Molestation by the people of the state at facilitating venue 5th Street and Euclid Avenue. Stalking by those that are losing the driving privilege. 56101 Jerry 2. Sexual assault and battery at this intersection where I've documented the entity stalking by plane, stalking me by helicopters. This is the people of the state stalking by place of residence. License plate. I can't really see that one. The entity is gang stalking at what is the facilitating venue where I'm documenting all manner of the pattern of conduct here. So all of the hallmarks are already present on the record. This is 1310, I believe. 1330 North Euclid Avenue. This is P.O.C. Sex offenders that are engaging in the pattern of conduct while they're engaging in sexual assault and battery as they are stalking at the intersection with the government that's stalking in plain psychopathic behavior. 8 David Henry Kelly 602, sexual assault and battery on the roads and the highways. That's the Ontario Police engaging in sexual assault and battery. The Ontario Police are indicative of the entire city of Ontario that is stalking. That's not a police department also as well that is stalking. That's a police department that's engaging in the conspiracy to commit murder, which is why those stalkers are and co-conspirators co-conspirators of murder are being disbanded and they're going to be committed, while the people of the state engage in that criminal activity on the city's behalf, and they're doing so while exercising a privilege that does not exist under the law. This privilege is being hereby revoked by the documentation of the entity stalking me on the roads and the highways, and doing so in furtherance of murder. Very psychopathic behavior, which is exhibiting mental illness by an entire entity, including those stalking of the military and of the Ontario Police Department. The authority figures that are engaging in gang stalking me in furtherance of murder. The people of the state are demonstrating the mental illness of those that are being prosecuted by virtue of a population engaging in that which the government is engaging in. This is the P.O.C. Sexual assault and battery at 5th Street and Euclid Avenue. Facilitating venue. It's 6:05 a.m. Alrighty, it is 1310 where the entity is committing the sex offense, the sex act committed by a population that is gang stalking, sexual assault and battery. That's where the demon possessed are molesting you with engineer light, not driving by you with headlights on. Like they are under the fake sun, where you are being molested with engineer light, not perpetually with a sun that's over you and being coated with sunlight for the duration of the daytime hours. These are sex offenders that are stalking, pacing all around you. And it includes license 44144 Mary 2, a documented gang stalker still engaging in that pattern of conduct that's noted with regard to their engagement in the entity's criminal pattern of conduct. It is currently 6:06 a.m. at, again, the correct address is 1310 North Euclid Avenue. Sexual assault and battery committed by the government that is gang stalking, as they've already shown, and that evidence also isn't erased from the record. Planes and helicopters, where they're engaging in the signature sex offense, as those that will be removed from being on the roads and the highways. P.O.C. All right, the people of the state are being documented by license plates. These license plates will be visible on the Google Drive. 9 Paul, Barry, Charlie, 395 included. Stalking, getting onto the Interstate 10, going eastbound, where I've shown the fake sun from sunrise time until sunset time. This is the population stalking, including on the freeways. That's how comprehensive the prosecution of the entire state of California is. This is P.O.C. 9 Victor Nancy Bob, 645. The entity is gang stalking. I want you to see, take a picture of the gang stalking cowards. The loudest ones are the most fearful ones. These are demons. That gives you context with regard to the entity that stalks by helicopters. Those are literally sexual cowards who engage in stalking American citizens, let alone you're stalking me. I've already prosecuted you and you're chasing me in helicopters. You're chasing your fate. You're being committed. Okay, that's the entity, though. You're giving context. These are demons. These are dead people. These are psychopaths that are stalking in super loud, supposedly, allegedly, purportedly scary helicopters. The loudest ones are the defeated, most fearful ones. Remember that. This is Satan. Satan is defeated. He's under you. He just wants you to feel like he's big and bad, and you're not accumulating any power through a loud motorcycle. You're nothing other than a pest that is monitoring and stalking. You have to be stalking in order to be loud to be heard. You're being heard while you're being documented. You're being documented as you are being prosecuted. You're being identified, that is humiliated, while you engage in stalking me. The most demoralizing, pathetic thing you could do. There is no victory in loud demons. They're pathetic. This is the P.O.C. 8JUY935. This is P.O.C. Ready? 9 Mary, Thomas Nancy, 610. 7NTW189, 8ZOR303, and the entity 8VEK157. That's how you know that this is surveillance and not traffic. The entity is leading off the psychopathic pacing onto the freeway, which is criminal activity. They're all losing licensure in California with a loud demon. That's audible activity. 9SED067. They're all co-conspirators of murder while I'm documenting them. And as I document one of them, as I document any company, I'm documenting the entire state of California. The state of California is caught in its criminal activity when you are establishing the pattern of conduct. I'm documenting hundreds of the demon-possessed who are engaging and admitting that they worship me, that they're obsessed with my vagina, that they are sex offenders who are stalking, and who are mentally ill. They're demons. There is no victory in that. The loud demons concede what are their mental illness and their necessity, the need for them to be committed, and that's exactly what's happening. License plate 8UT8617, all right? Co-conspirator of murder, stalking under a fake sun over the 10 freeway. That's at what is 6:25 a.m. Remember, I'm still on Euclid Avenue walking toward this venue in Upland, California. The entity has the fake sun over me at 10 o'clock in the morning at this 10 freeway while the entity is stalking. Audible activity is the signature of the mentally ill who are monitoring. 07478 Charlie 1. The demon possessed that are stalking on the roads and the highways are those that are going to be removed from the roads and the highways. 9EBG053. Getting on the freeway as a means of stalking someone is the necessity for the protection of American citizens that are engaging in, the right to, the privilege, in other words, to be on the roads and the highways free of stalkers and those that are seeking to engage in the conspiracy to murder by being on the roads and the highways. And it includes Ontario Montclair School District, license 1617540, P.O.C. All right, this is the entity that is gang stalking under the fake sun, P.O.C. And this is reflected on the Google Drive. You will see the images of the people that say who are identified terrorists. And this is adding to the ongoing documentation, which is exposing terrorists in California, exposing terrorism in the United States, and exposing that public investigation, the prosecution that's already complete of a state that is engaged in the POC. 8 Sam Jerry David 069, POC. It is currently 6:26 a.m. All right, just another note with regard to the foolishness, the asininity, the ignorance of the demon-possessed, the wicked, who are fools, who do not have any power, okay? The entity is engaging in what is stalking under a fake sun that's over the 10 freeway, but yet at 1:05 p.m., it's sitting over Woodside Senior Apartments. Those are the demons that are engaging in stalking. Number one, you're always stalking, while you then engage in what is literally counterintuitive. You're stalking while you are bringing attention to yourself as a stalker, and everyone is looking at you, pointing and laughing, but they're also containing their laughter when you're committed into a mental institution, because that is not right to be laughing at the mentally ill. But we all understand what's going on here. The demons are stalking under the bullseye, prosecuting them. 6 Paul Frank Charlie 298 is included in that mentally ill entity that are stalking under a fake sun. They're not just stalking, they're pacing. So this is the ritual that's going to have the demon possessed taken off the roads and the highways and involuntarily committed and thoroughly prosecuted as an entity stalking on the roads and the highways. You are losing driving privileges as a whole state and entity that is engaging in the pattern of conduct. There is no iteration of the natural environment. That is, you're not doing anything other than criminal surveillance as a mentally ill entity that is engaging in stalking and terrorism, and the attempt to engage in psychologically torturing the federal prosecutor, very foolish, but nonetheless, your criminal system is what I'm prosecuting and exposing. The fact that you tried it is speaking to what they do to the ordinary target individual. They engage in terrorism and furtherance of murder and psychological torture. While that is ineffective, while it's laughable and pathetic, and they're doing nothing other than admitting that they are guilty of that which I have alleged and proven unilaterally with tangible evidence, the entity is under a fake sun on Euclid Avenue at Woodside Senior Apartments at 1 o'clock, and I am already north on Euclid Avenue, because remember, the entity keeps the fake sun on one street in California, as my documentation shows, because NASA has yet to tell us about more than one sun, which would be the case in order for any of those so-called scientists, those so-called geniuses, to ever see the sun while it's remaining in Ontario on Euclid Avenue into Upland, not beyond the Upland Public Library, and back toward Ontario, not exceeding what is the Ovid Family Community Library, based on my evidence where I go, okay? Because the entity's universe is centered around me. The demons that are loudly speaking to their inferiority and their ignorance while they are stalking with loud noises. The demons that are monitoring your genitalia, okay? They are literally beneath you. These are lower beings that are going to places where they belong, and they include padded rooms, it includes straitjackets, and it includes what is remaining against your will, okay, for the protection of other people. Mental institutions, that's where the Nephilim are going. This is the P.O.C. They are under the fake sun, and you will see their images, their license plates. Not only am I reciting on the podcast, you will see it uploaded to the Google Drive. This is the entity that's being documented, and this is the documentation of the government. 6:30 a.m., the fake sun is over me, and it's over me at the same freeway in the evening after 6 p.m. Excuse me, it's 6:30 a.m., and after 6 p.m., the fake sun is over me at the same freeway. And remember, the asininity, the entity that's entirely defeated, is stalking in spectacular, that is psychotic ways. And they're doing so while the fake sun is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, Oh, you have over 6 hours later, the sun is supposed to be over Woodside Senior Apartments. That's when it's in a natural environment, okay? And all of these demons are out of their natural minds. The Nephilim are psychotic, and they're being embarrassed upon federally prosecuted, which is to result in what is involuntary commitments. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:31 a.m. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. What you will see are the serial stalkers, diversified landscaping, and the license plates of their employees. 6 Xavier Henry Paul 044, while my shadow travels across the streets. 9K PJ 114, 2 639 2 Paul 2, 9 Henry Frank Robert 009. Burtech is a heavily documented stalker. They are literally looking for attention. It's going to be in a federal case. License 39954 Wendy 3 and Colts Landscaping 92351 Frank 4, all committing sexual assault and battery. 9JUN 077. The corporations being prosecuted as sex offenders, and that includes the sex offenders who are again thirsty for attention. Southwest Airlines is being shut down, headquartered in Dallas, Texas, where there is no sun in Dallas, Texas in any natural environment, and that corporation is targeting in California with the military, with the sex offenders at facilitating venue 7th Street and Euclid Avenue in Upland, California, at 396 North Euclid Avenue. Vantage property, a facilitating venue where the fake sun is over me in the evening, and it's over me at sunrise hours. It is currently 6:39 a.m. They're sharing in a sex offense committed as an entity. The entity commits sexual acts of violence. This is the entity that is monitoring your genitalia as well while they're stalking you, and they engage in and commit sexual assault and battery via engineered light as they monitor you. 60327 Thomas 2, in furtherance of murdering you. And that includes diversified landscaping company that's engaging with a stalking with noise. The mentally ill, I have their license plates. They're going to be committed. They're going to be deported also. There are any employees of this gang stalking company that are found to be welcome in this country by gang stalking as immigrants. And that is with regard to every gang stalker. Every company is going to be dissected with regard to removing immigrants, enemies that are present, gang stalking, like Southwest Airlines, like Diversified Landscaping Company. The entity that's engaging in this is doing so. You'll see the entity that is stalking Southwest Airlines. That's Ontario International Airport that's stalking me in Upland, California. The entity is stalking as I am much north of this location, while the entity is stalking with light. This is the people of the state. They're being documented. Vantage property is indeed monitoring while the entity is maintaining light activity. The fake sun is context regarding stalking with light. Mentally ill conduct regarding criminal monitoring, okay? The entity is engaging in what is monitoring in furtherance of murder. The city of Upland that's engaged in conspiring my murder is the one that's going to be subject to martial law. The city of Ontario that's conspiring my murder is the one that's going to be subject to martial law, and they are all losing the privilege of driving while they've engaged in levying war, stalking on the roads and the highways and in the sky space. And that is why Southwest Airlines is going out of business, and they're going to compensate me for that which I have proven they are guilty of. Stalking in a whole other city where there is nothing with regard to Terminal 4 that would result in flight over the 10 freeway. And not only that, Southwest Airlines, the mentally ill that are going to be committed, those that are stalking in these airline planes are going into mental institutions, and so are those of the Upland Police Department and the Ontario Police Department. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:41 a.m. P.O.C. Of sex offenders of the people of the state, and it is a permanent bar from the ability to ever return to the United States. This is the P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently, where you can see this fake sun, 6:53 a.m. This is documentation of Chevron. Remember, the entity is stalking by helicopter, just like they are last night. Stalking by helicopter, engaging in that conduct. 6 Nancy Frank 212 is in Upland, California at 159 South Euclid Avenue, where the impossible is over this Chevron, which is stalking at a facilitating venue. The corporations that are being prosecuted for surveillance, as that is exposed, while the unnatural environment follows me around, and I'm thereby able to expose stalkers. What stalkers also do are engage in acts of discriminating, that is targeting, while you are under any circumstances subject to harassment upon criminal surveillance and furtherance of murdering you. It is beyond RICO. 9YLV253. And engaging in surveillance in a parking lot of a corporation such as Chevron is a prosecution of those third parties and the corporation. License plate. Present where the fake sun is present 12 hours from now, where the entity is talking about helicopter, that is the P.O.C. Not a coincidence. 9JZB678. You see how they're just sitting there? You see that fake sun over that Jeep? They're monitoring.
and they can sit here as long as they want. This is the entity that's going to be committed for stalking with light. And this is the mental illness that is shared by the police departments, shared by the military, shared by the entity that is gang stalking, that are going to be prosecuted for theft. And they thought that gang stalking was going to help them get away with criminal activity. Engaging in criminal activity to get away with criminal activity is the logic of the mentally ill who are being committed. License plate: engage in surveillance, Larry Robert Nancy 0503, while he was stalking me while I was across the street. You see that star on that vehicle? Is that somebody that works for law enforcement? Law enforcement that's exposed as a sex offender, a stalker, child rapist, demons? I want you to see this fake sun. And he is very much engaged in surveillance while I walk north up Euclid Avenue. The fake sun is ahead of schedule. I met Upland Public Library yesterday at 7:19 a.m., which I juxtaposed with being at Stater Brothers at 7:19 a.m., where the stalkers of the Ontario police who are being committed are engaging in what is kidnapping via asserting a fictitious warrant, or engaging in the pattern of conduct, all right? And while the people of the state are stalking that communication device, walking in the engineer light, the fake sun is here 12 hours later. I'm prosecuting the corporation while the brokies come onto the venue, engaging in that P.O.C. together, right? The entity is engaging in that P.O.C. and there is no protection for maintaining business. That business is the way in which you're engaging in the gang stalking. This is the entity that's engaging in that stall. Okay, you see that engineer light? Stalking at the gas stall. And this is a demon, and this is mental illness that's shared by the one that's sitting at now he's just sitting at the stop sign. All right, and now he's moving because he's listening to me. He's a vagina monitor. That's a sex offender, that's a child rapist, and it looks like the star of a gang stalking sheriff's department. That's what it looks like. But even if it's not, guess what? The sheriff's department is hereby prosecuted. Okay? The entity is engaging in that P.O.C. with the people of the state who engage in stalking me as an entity while I'm walking up and down the street. That's why the fake sun is over me, and it's also still over me at this same location. Impossible for Florida to ever have a sun while I'm documenting Chevron as the specific environment. P.O.C. This is the same sheriff's department, by the way, while another face is engaging in that presence, criminal presence. 38381 Uncle U, activity creation, monitoring, and it's Chevron at 159 South Euclid Avenue. This is P.O.C. And it's also impunity. Chevron's going to compensate me for this. I want you to look at that fake sun while a demon is stalking with light using a vehicle. 38381 Uncle 1. This is the conspiracy to commit murder. P.O.C. Good morning. I have a question. Before I make a purchase, I just want to confirm that is your EBT machine working? I came in a couple times before, but it wasn't working, so I didn't want to get my hopes up and get something and then not work.
Is it because your card wasn't going through?
It's only here, though.
What are you going to get?
I was just going to get a beverage.
Okay, let's run it first.
My card or get the beverage?
Your card.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to do, a test run before I try to buy it.
Okay. Your rewards number?
Oh, no. It's a, let me give you. I said EBT, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. No, I don't have a rewards number. Okay. So I thought you said I'm going to, like...
You want a fountain drink, right?
Really just a cup of ice. That's all I want to buy. Let's see. Here's my wallet. Here you go. I just wanted to test because I came a few times. Actually, with you, I was able to complete a purchase before, but a couple times after, I haven't been able to. Like every.
Let's try it. Go ahead and insert it. It won't let us tap. It won't let us slide.
Okay. Remove
Here,
it.
let me enter it manually.
Okay. Okay. Oh, you were able to figure it out. Well, good for you.
When you come here and it's not working, tell them to push button 8 and they'll enter it manually. Teach them. You gotta teach them.
I'm like, okay, I'll train them. You're so funny. Okay, I don't come here that frequently. I'll try to remember that though. But yeah. Thank you very much.
Button number 8.
Okay, so I just bought a drink, right? You already put it through?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Alrighty, so what this is the people of the state who are the customers coming in monitoring.
while they make the purchases. They are stalking in the path, and the engineer light is in the store, and the fake sun is over the store. This is how the corporations, literally the logo itself, is being prosecuted, while the people of the state and the government are prosecuting, serving to prosecute that that corporation. All right, because literally the business itself is operating how the people operate it. And so this is how that operates. The establishment, the people of the state, its employees, its customers, the government itself, and that's the prosecution of that corporation. While they engage in utilizing for criminal activity, I'm going to prosecute that corporation. This is a P.O.C. It is currently 6:59 a.m. Did I purchase a whole drink or just the ice? So I can get a drink too? I might as well. All right, thank you, ma'am. Have a good day. Alrighty, the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct. The demons that are insisting on talking. So that's what I'm documenting. While the entity drives off the property, they are seeking for themselves to avoid being documented, but they're not ceasing to engage in monitoring. It's activity creation while you move around, while you're present. That's the whole significance of the engineer light via a fake sun. They're stalking at gas stalls. That's certifiable behavior. 8 Xavier Edward David 829. Stalking at the gas stall number 9, license 7KKZ 837. Doing so under the fake sun that's present here after 7 p.m., where the entity is also engaged in criminal summoning here hours from now during the 10 a.m. hour. That's Upland Police. The entity also stalking by helicopter, as I'm documenting, just like I'm showing while the entity is stalking me from place to place. This is what Chevron is doing, including while the corporation is prosecuted by virtue of the criminal activity that is committed via the presence of the establishment. I'm prosecuting the brand. Understand that. And the brand is going to compensate me. My case is against the brand. My case is against the people of the state that are utilizing the brand to target. This is the P.O.C. The customers, the establishment itself, the building that is under the fake sun, the fake moon, the engineer light, for the gang stalking purposes of customers that are monitoring in furtherance of murder, for employees that are monitoring in furtherance of murder, for the government that is monitoring in furtherance of murder, and the entity is criminally responsible for that. This is your notice. You are being prosecuted. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 7:02 a.m. All right, you will see in the images that Chevron is the grounds where criminal surveillance is underway by the public entity. So that's the prosecution of the corporation. And the people of the state are malicious third parties who never anticipated being proven as stalkers, but that's how you are stalking while the entity builds a business and all the gang stalkers work there and shop there, consume there, and maintain presence there, inside and outside, during business hours and outside of business hours, and that corporation is being prosecuted for it, and so are the people of the state. This is the entity that's engaging in the pattern of conduct at Chevron, which I'm prosecuting. It's all committed in furtherance of murder, criminal monitoring, under the fake sun. The supernatural is literally there to prosecute the corporation. It is currently 7:05 a.m. You'll see that in the images. They're sitting there stalking with light, monitoring with noise, pacing, and doing so while they are making money. Chevron's making money. You're going to divulge those profits. P.O.C. All right, Brightview Landscapers, targeting, stalking in Upland, California. License plate 05718 Jerry 4. Indeed, stalking under the fake sun. That is at IHOP, Mark Grossman's law office, in the middle of the afternoon, like when I arrived the other day. It's 7:08 a.m.
The entity is keeping this fake sun over me while Brightview is being targeted as one that is targeting me. Brightview is targeting me as a corporation. Its employees are demons. Its employees are third parties under the law, and they are conspiring my murder, and so is the corporation Brightview Landscapes. This is the P.O.C. They're doing so in concert with the people of the state in furtherance of murder. So that is a corporation that's engaged in criminal activity with the government. And Brightview Landscapes is a part of the entity that is targeting me and facilitating targeting me. And I'm going to prosecute Brightview for that. This is the pattern of conduct at what is A Street, A as in Apple, and Euclid Avenue. Context: the entity has a fake sun over me at the Chevron after 7 p.m. where the entity is stalking me by helicopter. The entity has the fake sun over me in the evening where the entity is stalking me by helicopter. This is 9th Street and Euclid where the 7-Eleven is at 204 North Euclid Avenue, where the entity has at sunset the fake sun that remains over me, where the entity is utilizing Metrolink as a means of criminal facilitation, targeting me while the entity is gang stalking under that fake sun. That's where I'm located right now, where Brightview is gang stalking. Crossing paths by turning onto the street. 9YUZ665 under the fake sun that's moving itself over me. This is also how you know that Brightview is targeting me. All right, this is the P.O.C. It is currently 7:10 a.m. P.O.C. Alrighty, this is Metrolink monitoring under the fake sun. This is P.O.C. It's audible activity, and this is train activity that you will not hear inside of the library. Metrolink is targeting while that ridiculous and demonic and psychopathic certifiable behavior is documented amongst the Upland Public Library employees who are all going to prison. And it is the entity that's engaged in this. Just like you can, if I yell at the top of my lungs, you cannot hear it inside of the Upland Public Library. And the entity that is operating a train right now is not heard inside of the Upland Public Library. And also, the train that you are looking at and can see now is not going to harm the passengers on that train. In the same way that they are driving under the fake sun, it is also impossible audible activity that Upland Public Library uses to monitor me pursuant to Metrolink's schedule. So Metrolink is being prosecuted while I'm at the Upland Public Library. They're always providing a way to prosecute them while they target in certifiable manners. P.O.C. Metrolink is engaged in conspiring my murder, and I will prosecute, and Metrolink is going to find out and discover what is the price tag for conspiring the murder of an American citizen through the operation of that business, which is also being prosecuted for corruption. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:21 a.m. at IHOP under the fake sun. All right, this is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is the military that's maintaining psychopathic pacing in Upland, California by stalking in these planes at a heightened elevation. They keep flying over me repeatedly. I took a picture of the black plane. I was standing right here, and the entity is flying what is west, flying over my head. This is the entity that is targeting me. That's why I was able to capture the fake sun over me in Upland, California at this library at 7:19 a.m. while I'm prosecuting the Ontario Police Department and the kidnappers who are gang stalking at Stater Brothers at 646 West Hope Boulevard. And the fake sun is over me at Stater Brothers, where I am kidnapped through the exercise of fictitious authority, referencing a warrant that does not exist as an entity is gang stalking you, pursuant to kidnapping. The entity that is stalking me, engaging in surveillance in Upland, California under the fake sun, targeting me specifically. And you know that while the entity kept the fake sun over all of the gang stalkers that were here targeting me by helicopter, as I documented right before this venue opened at 10 o'clock. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and I want to document that's the same military. Well, the video I will attach is to remind you about the cult members that held a ceremony right here, and it was satanic. And that satanic ceremony occurred in the physical with regard to somebody graduating in order to become a part of what is the gang stalkers, who are the Marine Corps, who I am prosecuting while the Ontario Police, the Upland Police, the City of Upland, the City of Upland, the City of Ontario, the gang stalking airline industry, the entity stalking by helicopters, it's prosecuting the U.S. Marine Corps, the United States military. That's engaging in criminal activity, by the way. This is symbolic. While the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct and is doing so at what are the maintenance of items that are erected with regard to the cult members, the cult leaders that are engaged in criminal activity and referring to themselves as those that whom we should honor, whom we should speak of and refer to as those who are noble and who have authority, and they do not. They don't. I'm literally prosecuting criminal activity by the military who are maintaining surveillance in Upland, California. This is psychopathic. They're going to be committed. All right, the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct referring to them as those that are in the military. Those that are in the military are the demon possessed. They are the Nephilim, and they've been engaged in long-term experimentation of American citizens whom they know are gifted and who know that they're demons as well. That's the reasoning behind the entity targeting me, and I don't even know them, and I've done nothing that would cause attention for the military, for any police department to hone in on my life. Okay, the entities engaging in what are satanic practices. Satanic practices are the behavioral health concerns of the mentally ill who are going to be involuntarily committed, and that is through this evidence of the entity stalking me in planes, just like they are in Ontario, which is no disguise for the mentally ill who are being committed for stalking me in planes and helicopters. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 9:01 a.m. Psychopathic pacing is criminal activity that the Upland City Hall is being defunded for. Okay, the entity is engaged in this, and all the employees of the Upland Public Library are going to federal prison. They're engaging in gang stalking, which is why I am able to document ongoing targeting at the Upland Veterans City Hall area. This is the P.O.C. These are flags that you may very well flush down the toilet. Okay, you use them to, you defecate and you wipe yourself. That's how meaningless this is. These are criminals. And they're engaged in criminal activity, and I am documenting it, and I'm showing you who are the Nephilim. And they refer to themselves as the U.S. Marines, the U.S. Navy. They refer to themselves as the U.S. Army. They refer to themselves as the U.S. Coast Guard. They refer to themselves as police departments and sheriff's departments, and they're gang stalking me. All right, this is the P.O.C. and the entity that's engaging in this pattern of crime. That means those that are in these positions of authority, they are going into mental institutions and they're going to prison. And they are the reason why the people of the state are engaging in criminal activity. That's also why they're being prosecuted and removed from position. That's a demon walking on his tippy toes. The mental illness is shared by those that are stalking in the planes. The people of the state show you how mentally ill they are who are stalking me through the aerial surveillance. This is the fake sun, which is present, and it's 9:03 a.m. and the evidence is placing this fake sun in an entirely different location. For example, remaining at Woodside Senior Apartments, where the entity's keeping me under surveillance by helicopters and planes, while demons like that are pacing, walking out of the apartment. That's what you saw Frank Nieto engaging in, a psychopath pacing in sync with the demons that are in planes, monitoring under the bullseye, okay? While they're engaging in that surveillance system. That's a prosecution of a whole apartment complex, which is indicative of a whole population engaging in that pattern of conduct, where the entity keeps a fake sun on one street. And I'm going to prosecute the Upland Police Department. I'm going to prosecute Bring Security. I'm going to prosecute the gang stalking population. This is P.O.C. It is current. The entity's not free to engage in any of this, and this is why you're being prosecuted as well. That which they're engaging in, which is what are psychopathic certifiable methods of stalking. Stalking. P.O.C. It is currently 9:03 a.m. Alrighty, this is the entity engaging in what is ongoing targeting, stalking, flying right over my head, while the entity is engaged in manipulating my access to Wi-Fi. This is the federal stalking that I'm documenting the City of Ontario engaging in. And I want to be clear, this is what the City Hall is aware of, they're sharing in. This is what the Upland Public Library is aware of, they're sharing in. This is what the gang stalking demons, the mentally ill who are psychopathic. Their mental illness is not one where they don't know what they're doing, they don't understand, or they're crazy in that they don't appreciate the criminality of what they're engaging in. This is Adam Tuckerman, who is monitoring while the entity is flying over my head, just like while I'm inside of where he works, the entity is flying over my head by helicopter. Adam Tuckerman's going to prison. That's the P.O.C. All right, he's walking into the to the back portion of the library. This is what they engage in while they're monitoring as well. While they're walking in, and these are demons that are hostile, and this is the type of petty tactics that they engage in. And this pettiness that I'm documenting is serious criminal activity in furtherance of murdering someone and trying to psychologically torture them while they get secret acts of retaliation executed, and they get it executed as a matter of evidence against them. Adam Tuckerman is under this fake sun at this Upland Public Library in the middle of the afternoon, where his mental illness is simultaneously being broken down in evidence to put him away in federal prison, while the military is flying over me while a fake sun is present. In this parking lot, I documented all the gang stalking parents who come to the library to target me in furtherance of murder and psychological torture with Adam Tuckerman and the military, who are stalking, spending millions of dollars in doing so. All right, and the entity's engaged in this at 11 o'clock when I went through this parking lot. It's currently 9:19 a.m. There is no natural environment where 2 hours later the sun is over the same location. It's a gaseous ball of fire, is it not? It's one that would be heightened in elevation, not sitting on top of this tree, right? Which should be setting on fire if this was the natural environment, correct? It's in constant movement, not idle, sitting over one location. This is the entity that's engaged. This ASSEN entity is a direct reference to an indicator regarding the mentally ill that are hopping in planes and helicopters, engaging in the exact same criminal activity of Southwest Airlines, Amazon Prime, UPS, Delta Airlines. The entity that's gang stalking via the airline industry, where the military are using planes that don't have any passengers on them, stalking me just like they are in Amazon Prime vehicles and UPS vehicles, stalking by delivering a package to the people of the state under the fake sun in the specific environment, in concert with the military. And Adam Tuckerman's going to prison. Right, that's P.O.C. This is the entity doing so while they are monitoring and blocking access to the Wi-Fi. This is federal stalking. The entity is engaged in this at literally the city hall. This is a very direct prosecution of the government. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:21 a.m. All right, stalking with the U.S. military includes the gang stalkers that are going up to the drop box. This is how they're stalking. Pacing is what they're accomplishing. They're doing so while the entity is engaged in what I captured on video, flying over my head by plane, license 4LVX783. This is an old white woman stalking at the library under a fake sun. This is a lesbian. This is a stalker, a co-conspirator of murder, engaging in surveillance with the military in furtherance of trying to murder me. This is why she is stalking with the government, in concert with the entity that flies over my head by plane. They're sitting at the parking lot of the Upland City Hall. That's the government. That's a facilitating venue. Just like Reliable Properties, a third-party facilitating venue, the government is not ignorantly providing a place for stalkers to be and engage in that pattern of conduct. The book drop is the entity that's gang stalking with the library. P.O.C. The entity is doing so with minor children. They're doing so while they are monitoring the evidence that's being uploaded to the Google Drive. That is federal stalking that old white woman is going to be federally prosecuted for. And that old white woman represents the city of Upland that's conspiring my murder. And this is why Bill Velto is being prosecuted, not just being removed from office. He's not staying in office. He's being prosecuted. Okay, Bill Velto is engaging in the same criminal activity that the military, as I'm capturing it on video. He's engaged in criminal summoning with COLLIN. He's engaged in criminal summoning with MARCELO. He's engaged in criminal summoning with the homosexuals stalking me in commercial planes that are in Upland, California, while this entity is engaging in what is stalking literally at the Upland City Hall. So I took screenshots of it. You'll see a gang stalking demon with 2 minor children. The entity flies over my head while she goes to the book drop as a method of stalking. How is a group stalking you? By crossing your path. Doing so while the phenomenon, the fake sun that's simultaneously raining over Woodside Senior Apartments, somehow it's over me at the Upland Public Library while this stalker is targeting with the military, okay? The entity's engaged in what is monitoring evidence on the internet, and this is what they did yesterday while the entity included helicopter activity. The demons with the minor children, this old white woman, these are psychopaths. Okay, this is the P.O.C. These are lesbians who are vagina monitors, who are miserable, suicidal, engaging in psychopathic criminal activity while they are clutching the hands of children. Those children are a part of the pattern of conduct. They are fully engaging in the experimentation of a mentally ill government that's engaging in what is failing and psychologically taking me over. They're going to be committed while the entity is exposing all of the depths of severe mental instability while they gang stalk somebody that is here to prosecute them. This is the entity that's engaging in that, and I am documenting, remember, all the serial stalkers, this is why they're going to prison. All the employees of the Upland Public Library, Adam Tuckerman is inside gang stalking with those that are using the book drop as a method of crossing path, that is stalking. That's why he's going to prison, and all the other employees are as well. This is the P.O.C. I'm capturing in real time the entity that is in relevant position monitoring. License 8, Uncle Nancy Henry 236. License 7, CJP013. License 8, Sam Frank Henry 735. And the demon that is gang stalking with children is driving a gray Camry. She's the one captured with the orange shirt, 9FXL099, substantially similar. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct together. These are sex offenders, child rapists that are going to be losing custody of children while they gang stalk. Gang stalking is a sex offense. So they engage in sexual violence, they engage in murder plots, they engage in criminal activity with children, okay? That's the entity, as you can hear, Metrolink admitting to gang stalking by the people of the state who I'm identifying by license plate. License PL897, that's a handicap. All right, and they are all handicapped while the evidence of their mental illness is through the audible activity of that which you cannot hear at the Upland Public Library nor inside of the Upland Public Library. That's the entity that's doing that under a fake sun that's over Woodside Senior Apartments. These are the mentally ill. And Metrolink is being federally prosecuted for conspiring by murder. This is the pattern of conduct. It is currently 9:52 a.m. This is indeed P.O.C. Upland Public Library is engaging in that pattern of conduct. And I also want to document the entity engaging in what, like I documented last night. The Ontario Police are stalking at reliable properties, while the entity is stalking by helicopter, both at the Upland Public Library and also at at the intersection, the facilitating venue of H as in Henry and Euclid Avenue. The entity is across the street. Reliable Properties is prosecuted for stalking me by helicopter as well. And the entity is engaging in what is the pattern of conduct while they're monitoring and they're monitoring as I'm documenting it. So I want to be clear, Pizza Hut, like I specifically and intentionally targeted, meaning I isolated them with regard to the pattern of conduct as they are selling and creating food products. Pizza Hut is engaged in preparing food. Alex is the one that's documented on the podcast. Alex is subject to federal prison, and so is everybody else that's at work at Pizza Hut. That's the entity that's engaged in tampering with food. The entity that's engaging in poisoning, like what Stater Brothers, like what Grocery Outlet, like what Giant Dollar, like what the little Mexican restaurant that's on Euclid Avenue in Upland, California at facilitating venue 8th Street and Euclid, where the entity is providing what is watermelon water that the entity tampered with, poisoned that drink. That's on the record. They're going to prison, and if they're immigrants, they're going to be deported. The entity is engaging in this with the military. The military is the one that is poisoning me through the people of the state who provide establishments that are targeting with that government, and they're going to prison. That's why where you sell food products, you maintain a grocery store, you're engaging in the pattern of conduct, you are automatically going to prison. And the entity is engaged in poisoning Pizza Hut. This is the entity that's engaging in that, and this is the entity that is, again, poisoning you and then stalking. They're flying plane after plane, and they're stalking via the Upland Public Library. That's why you have the City Hall here. They're stalking via the City Hall. That's you have what is the traffic. They're stalking via Euclid Avenue. They're stalking via the San Bernardino County Fire Department. Those that are working there. While the people of the state are engaging in surveillance by mere presence. And that's all you're doing while you're gang stalking. It's presence. That's why a whole fake sun is here. And Alex and the rest of them are going to prison. I've already documented Pizza Hut. The entity is engaged in tampering with food. Tampering with my food that I did purchase, and I do have that receipt. I documented it by podcast. That's why I do that. This is exactly what the Wendy's customers, including Nicholas, who is admitting to monitoring while you're admitting to monitoring while you're unintelligent and making unfounded statements about that which I'm free to do. And it doesn't matter what a fast food restaurant is talking about regarding your phone. This is an entity that is not under any circumstances in any position to dictate how you use your phone, which is a matter of free speech. With regard to going into a bathroom and breaking into the bathroom stall in order to get what is violating their privacy, then you're not even violating privacy when you are in the bathroom with the phone, which the people of the state are while they're gang stalking you. Okay, the entity is engaging in this also outside of the bathroom, and they're going to be prosecuted for that as well because they are actually violating privacy while they're outside of the bathroom with their phones because they're engaging in surveillance. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and I want to document the entity. Wendy's customers are also going to prison. They've already committed the act of poison as well. This is what the entity does. That's the military. That's the gang stalking police who are engaging in poisoning you via these corporate entities who are being prosecuted. This is your notice. This is the entity that, and I want to be clear, the pattern of conduct, you serve food equals federal prison. That's the mathematics behind that. And this is why. The entity is engaged in poisoning. The entity is tampering with my food. So this is digestive issues that I'm experiencing the next day. And the entity just sits around waiting. These are psychopaths. They sit around stalking, in other words, stalking and monitoring. Oh, you know, what's going to happen? Oh, let's monitor her stomach. It's growling. Let's monitor her movement. Oh, does she have to go to the bathroom? Does she have the urge to use the restroom now? Oh, let's go monitor what she's doing in the bathroom. The sex offenders that are obsessed with my vagina. Okay. And they are using helicopter fuel to gas up helicopters to monitor someone's genitalia after they poison them and then monitor them and keep them under surveillance while they are experiencing whatever symptoms you experience in a bathroom where you do not have any privacy. Okay, that's the entity that is not creating any rules regarding how you are going to document them targeting and conspiring against your life, regardless of what Nicholas, a third party who is speaking as Wendy's, that is gang stalking me, as I documented the other night. Okay, this is the P.O.C. It is currently 9:57 a.m. I want to include that in the record while the demon possessed are gang stalking at Upland Public Library with the military. So that plane activity that I'm capturing is combined with the gang stalkers of the Upland Public Library, just like they did up close with the helicopter. And then you have Adam Tuckerman just walking in like nothing happened. That's why they're going to be committed. This is the ability to get that up close documentation, which is a study into the mentally ill who seek to target the targeted individual and depict them as being mentally ill. And there is no competition. There's not even any comparison. The ones that are calling themselves medical professionals are undiagnosed psychopaths. The ones that are carrying babies and are sitting under the fake sun gang stalking you are the ones that are a threat to those children while they are engaging in the pattern of conduct committed in furtherance of murder, while they engage in sex acts of violence with those children, okay? This is the entity that's engaging in that. This is the entity that is engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct with the mentally ill who are all gang stalking, all right? That's speaking to the sickness of the city of Upland that is going to be bound by martial law, and this is an entity that is going to compensate me, the city of Upland and the people of the state who are the terrorist gang stalking in Upland. And this is the entity that is, you're showing every aspect of martial law. You're removing the city hall, the fire departments, the police departments. It's all waste of money. It's all being defunded, and the entity is going to compensate. And they're also being criminally prosecuted as an entire municipality. And the people of the state are not individuals where the pattern of conduct is established. They are the government, and they will be defunded as well. They will be compensating the targeted individual. They are the hands and feet, the shoes, the criminal presence of that government. I also want to point out something else. The entity is amplifying plane activity, right? When you're inside of the building, that's nothing that you would hear. That's demonic activity. Just like you hearing the train, that's supernatural. It's demonic activity. They're manifesting as demons while I'm capturing video of them, and they're walking around like they're not doing anything. These are the mentally ill. They're witchcraft practices, in other words. Their supernatural engagement in the criminal elements of monitoring is used while they're engaging in criminal activity, which is psychologically harmful to the person that they are stalking and targeting. The backfire is that that's your behavioral health concern. That's a threat to other people. Thereby, you are being committed. And I am capturing tangible evidence of it. And you're doing it as a government system. This is the entity that has created the formula to have them all committed, to have them all locked down by martial law, as they are a threat to national security. And they are the demon-possessed people of the state. This is P.O.C. They're all under the fake sun. I'm going to go ahead and take that Kodak moment for you. You'll see the fake sun hovering over the Upland Public Library. We're the entity, I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in and show you the entity that is stalking by planes while they are lined up at the Upland Public Library, okay? That's the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and that's plane activity that you're not going to hear inside of the Upland Public Library. The entity targets me while a bunch of demons use children. These children are demons. That's how it's a national security threat. These demons, remember, demons are monitoring spirits. So the demon-possessed that are minors are used to keep you under surveillance, and this is a government system. The entity is engaging in this with regard to the malicious outer appearance. Oh, look at the innocent children. They're innocent insofar as their age. They're innocent insofar as they didn't place themselves there to monitor you, but they are not innocent with regard to what they are accomplishing with the government. And this is also why the people of the state, the government, is losing access and custody of children. This is P.O.C. This is psychopathic pacing while they walk into the library. I'm capturing images of this in real time. This walking in as a group under the fake sun is psychopathic pacing, and they're all here stalking one person. This is the city of Upland that's gang stalking. All the employees are going to prison at the Upland Public Library. Bill Velto is being removed from office. They are all engaged in the shared sex act of vagina monitoring as well. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 10 a.m. on the dot. This is the same entity that was stalking by helicopter yesterday. Okay, everybody, the facts are, everybody at this library knows exactly who I am, and I've never spoken to them. And regardless of how the entity would like for it to be, I'm so disruptive, I'm so problematic, I'm so popular. That's how they know who I am. No, the entity's targeting. The fake sign is letting you know their source of knowledge, and the entity makes a series of admissions when they refer to me, and there is no relationship. In the real world, in the normal world, you would be asking me what's your name, regardless of how many days you've seen me at the library. Unless there is some encounter whereby you actually had some sort of basis to not only hear my name, but remember it. Because even if you've heard it, you're not significant to me, and I don't know your name. All right, but this is the entity that I am documenting, and so I do gather facts and information, but they're supposed to be the disinterested strangers who are minding their business, and gang stalking is a figment of the target individual's imagination. This is not the case. That's also why they're going to be locked down with martial law, which is how you involuntarily commit, if you will, a population of the mentally ill. With regard to those that are targeting in the criminal system, the entity is stalking in this psychopathic manner inside of a building. And those that are documented, and in other words, as I provide a benefit to the public and document them personally, those are the ones that are going to prison. Those are the ones that are going to mental institutions. Those are the ones that are losing custody of children. Those are the ones that are going to be federally prosecuted as violent sex offenders conspiring the murder of an American citizen while they are gang stalking, I want to be clear, with those children at a library. Remember, Adam Tuckerman is here earlier. The fake son is here also in the afternoon, where the entity is engaging in this, which I just documented. The facts that surround, not just what I'm capturing now, but the facts that already exist on the record. All right, that's the P.O.C. It's 10:02 a.m. This is stalking in a library. This is psychotic. It's certifiable conduct that the entity joins in together. You have the homeless. You have a bunch of illiterate demons that don't even read. They don't shower. They don't have anywhere to live. They're inside of the library gang stalking me, however. And the fake son is the proof of that. All right. I am the one that is here exposing it and documenting it, which is entirely constitutional, by the way. And the demons are engaged in what is surrounding me everywhere that I go. And they're doing that while they're being prosecuted. That's more evidence of their mental illness. What is it that you think you're going to accomplish when you're being prosecuted and exposed for it? You're supposed to be doing this anonymously. It's supposed to be something that appears on its surface, and when you look into it, as nothing. And this, we have well gone beyond that threshold. The entity is very much guilty of that which is proven with tangible evidence, which is long existing. Not just that you're a criminal, but the way in which you engage in that mentally ill behavior, a whole system, in concert with the mentally ill who are stalking in expensive manners, elaborate manners, such as jets and planes and helicopters. And then you are in the building engaging in the bidding, which is psychotic as well. And you go into bathroom stalls sharing in that. That's the entity that's being committed for that. This is P.O.C. The entity is tracking my steps. So when I take pictures of those that are walking on the opposite side of the room and you see them walking next, they're tracking my steps, they're stalking. That's what Anthony and the employees are doing. This is what I captured. This is what I capture on an ongoing basis, but I'm just giving you an example of demons that are monitoring while they are in step with you on the opposite side of a building, while they are sitting above you as you're on the first floor or vice versa. They are stalking in the path under the fake sun. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, the fake sun is, remember, I'm arriving here in the afternoon. The other day, I'm arriving here after 10 o'clock, and the entity has the fake sun over the reference desk, where the entity is stalking with the military that's flying over and around the library, and doing so with those that are here to engage in what is surveillance with the government. Carissa, Allen, those are, and Adam Tuckerman, who I captured outside while the entity was flying over my head. Adam Tuckerman's going to prison for his appetite for psychological torture and stalking a woman in order to accomplish murdering her as an entity. This is P.O.C.
Hey, how are you doing, my friend?
Good morning, Mr. Allen. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's Friday. We made it to the weekend, right?
It is Friday, right?
Oh, yeah. Don't scare me. I thought you were going to say it's not.
No, I was going to say, is it Saturday, actually? Because the days go by. Yeah, you're right. It is Friday.
Yeah. I'm rarely here on Saturdays.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen you on Saturdays before, though.
I come in occasionally. Yeah,
Good for you. You have weekends off? That must be nice.
Typically, but sometimes, like, I'm going to come in this Saturdays for a little bit for one of our author visits.
Can I get a laptop, if I may? Let me see. Wow.
Yeah. While you do that, I'll go ahead and get your laptop.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. This is audible activity, and that door closure is that which is amplified in volume while I wear headphones and publish evidence that these demons are hostile to, including the demon Allen, who is a state actor. You hear this jolly conversation, this welcoming attitude, and he is also engaged in stalking me with noise. This is mental illness, and the military is stalking through this exchange. Alrighty, you are aware of what I documented yesterday afternoon with at the same location? Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Everything good with you?
I am fine, as long as that computer is charged. Do you know if it's charged? Is that charged?
We're about to find out.
I know, because I know that they don't charge overnight. Yeah, I'm good though, thank you.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Monday seems to be the absolute worst because we're not here on
Oh, Monday? Yeah, over the weekend.
Monday mornings are bad. It's a pain. But let me see.
Does Mr. Tuckerman know about that?
Yeah.
He does? Oh.
Yeah. The thing is, these things are, the laptops, and that are both so old.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just that they just didn't charge it though, right? They didn't turn it on or something.
We turn it on. Let me see. Oh, this looks good. Like I said, we usually have better luck in during the week. It's Mondays that are.
Yeah, I understand. When you're done, don't forget the wipes, please.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
want to make sure I wipe that up. Oh,
You're gonna shake your sillies out.
no, I was about to say, you probably have a study room, but I don't know if I want a study room.
We do have one available. We have the small one and we have one of the bigger ones both available. Say this and then I'm gonna get you the wipes.
Oh, sorry, you have to walk around, huh? I could have reached it right there.
No,
It's okay. Thank you. All right, this is a laudable activity and relevant position while the people of the state are in line stalking in the path under the fake sun. Remember, I'm coming at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so how is it over my head right now? The same logic behind the military stalking in aircrafts and in helicopters. All right, and to engage in that and behave in this manner is certifiable. Here you go. Thank you. I'm going to take, well, I'll just take one since you're running out. Thank you.
Okay, all right, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Have a good
All right, you have a good one. Hi, can I help you?
Oopsie. Alrighty, this is the pattern of conduct, obsessive stalking, as I walk away and they're crossing path by being in line under the fake sun. Certifiable conduct, obsessive conduct, very malicious also. This is the entity that is supposed to be doing this inconspicuously, and they're doing it in front of all of you, let alone they're doing it in front of the person that is aware of it. That's also psychopathic. That's a level of analysis that they're stalking a person that's very much aware of it. All right, and remember, the entity that is monitoring your awareness pulls out the helicopter and starts flying in circles over you, and that's supposed to also be for a malicious purpose as well. That's supposed to further break you down and trigger and make you scared, where right now, because the entity is being documented and proven as a stalker, it is evidence to show the malice behind the intent to take my life and psychologically torture before taking my life. That's how that evidence is used. And it's also used because no sane person engages in such tactics, holds that sort of malice towards strangers. You don't even know me, let alone even if your wife cheated on you, why would you be pulling out something like a helicopter? Like, what is your logic? Where is that ever going to be a normal practice? And this is the entity that is going to be committed behind what they're doing. You hear what Alan is saying, and Alan is gang stalking while he's saying it. Alan is gang stalking me with the gang stalkers that are in line for that purpose. They are all under a fake sun, and they did this while they are stalking by helicopter, which was just 24 hours ago. And this is the entity that behaves in that manner as though they are not engaging in that. And that is not to suggest that they're not. That's not confirming that they're innocent of anything. Alan is under the fake sun in the afternoon, like I stated. Remember, Kiki and Joy and Alan are in the path. And I'm documenting in the middle of the afternoon, and the same crime scene is present, the supernatural, the fake sun, while the demons pace in and out of the bathrooms, which is not going to be any sort of disruptive behavior, but for them being demons who are stalking with noise. Every move that I make, a door slams, and that's the employees and the demons themselves who are stalking in a building. All of them together are collectively mentally ill. And that's why martial law is an absolute necessity for the state of California. They've been engaged in lawlessness, they've been engaged in murder, and they've been engaged in doing so under the guise of what is a criminal justice system, under the guise of what is investigations undertaken by those that are gang stalking, like LAPD, like Ontario Police Department, like any sheriff's department, like any court, while I'm showing you how every aspect of that system is engaged in targeting me with the military who are in the cities with the people, sharing in this corruption, sharing in this lawlessness. And it is premised in severe mental instability. And it is not even based on economic status. Those that have letters behind their names, supposedly MDs and JDs, right? They are gang stalking just like the toilet cleaners, just like the ones that are sleeping behind dumpsters and look like trash that they were sleeping on. They look like that. They're dirt all over them, and they smell like feces. And they're here gang stalking. There is no difference or hierarchy amongst them. They're all demons, and they're all sharing in that mental illness.
illness, including while they give birth to children and come to engage in the same criminal pattern of conduct, which is speaking to the threat to those children who are conforming to that system under very threatening circumstances, who are in that environment, which is also speaking to the fact that you are unfit to be in any custodial position as a gang stalker, and you are also engaging in a sex act in furtherance of murdering someone while you have access to children. These are the entity's tactics. The entity's engaged in criminal summoning right now, while the same cheerful employee you heard, Alan, is the culprit behind that in furtherance of murder and psychological torture. Alan is going to prison. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct, and that is the mentally ill, the military stalking under circumstances of Alan being surrounded under the fake sun at the same address at 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The military are serving my purposes of them being committed in addition to Alan being committed, Alan going to prison. And this is tangible evidence that science itself, even scripture, the Holy Bible, is serving to testify against Alan, who does not have a legally relevant defense. And the demons that are gang stalking with the sirens are serving to put him there, and they're putting themselves there. They're not accomplishing anything with regard to what is the whole purpose of gang stalking. The demons who are dead are engaging in what is dead conduct, dead actions. That is, in other words, everything that they're doing is a matter of public information to you, and you also know how they do it and why they do it, what they know as they do it, what is also the reasonable purpose, objective behind that. In other words, why would you engage in something like, oh, I don't know, following somebody around in a helicopter? What are the reasonable objectives behind doing something that absurdly psychotic? This is the entity that's being federally prosecuted. This is the entity that does not have one iota of legitimacy either. When you are gang stalking in a helicopter at any hour of the day, you are gang stalking every hour of the day, and the entity's behavior failing. There's no act anymore. There's no illusion. There is nothing persuasive. There's no smile, face reflection, position of your body that you are doing anything other than telling the world that you are gang stalking me, and you're gang stalking the person that you know is documenting it. And because of that, that speaks to a specific layer, a specific type of offender, a mentally ill one. This is the entity that's being prosecuted. Sheena's here engaging in criminal summoning. So is Carissa. So is Alan. The entity's engaged in that, and you already saw Adam Tuckerman on video. These are the demons that are going to prison. Okay, I have them on video for years, and at 5 p.m. the fake sun is still over this Upland Public Library. They're all going to prison, every single last one of them. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 10:14 a.m. Giving context behind the U.S. military's criminal engagement in the P.O.C. and also context between those that are engaging in what is the egregious sex offense with children, genitalia surveillance of what is between your legs in a private space, which includes your home, includes any third-party innkeeper that provides a hotel room to you. That's a private space. And under the law, the entity that conducts engages in kidnappings, they will also still be prosecuted as a sex offender because a kidnapping will not stop the charges pursuant to what is monitoring your genitalia inside of any jail or prison or facility where you are kept in violation of the law and gang stalking is underway. They will still be prosecuted as a sex offender monitoring you in any bathroom, which is a private space. So this is the federal law that's going to trump the ways in which an entity is giving authority that is unmerited, unwarranted to the gang stalkers who are in the position of the government. This is P.O.C. It's 10:15 a.m. on, by the way, what is Friday, August 14th, 2026. Let me go ahead and give you some more context really quick. Pizza Hut is engaged in what is poisoning. Alex is going to prison, so are the rest of his employees. The entity is gang stalking. City of Upland is the one that hires the landscapers on the grounds. City of Upland's the gang stalking city council, the one that is financing terrorism. The municipality is being defunded. Its employees are all gang stalking, and its third-party agents like Mariposa, Brightview, Elite, they're engaging in the P.O.C. and they're all being federally prosecuted as well. Corporations that are cooperating with the entity and the military that are stalking in planes and helicopters. This is the prosecution of Cable Airport as well. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:15 a.m. This is under the fake sun and upon the entity engaging in poisoning and also stealing from me. And I will elaborate after this. This is the P.O.C. This is the sex offense committed by Adam Tuckerman, committed by the military, committed by Pizza Hut, committed by the demons you see pacing into the library. This is P.O.C. It's audible activity and engineered light under the fake sun, 10:37 a.m. This is vagina monitoring by a sex offender that's worthy of losing custody of children, which is what's going to happen to the people in the state. P.O.C. bathroom monitoring. Audible activity. Stalking. obsession, sexual perversion, mental illness with minors. P.O.C.
Can you reach it? Okay. Oh, you got slashed. Try this one. Okay, this one's better. The other one you got slashed. Use your soap.
You're mindful of the jets, the helicopter, the planes, the light source.
Come on, good job. Good job. Okay. Did you get it between and tops and bottoms? Good. Okay. Now rinse. Rinse.
And this is why the employees are going to prison. They're mentally ill. This is the banner for mental
I
illness.
think you need help to reach.
This is P.O.C.
It's still soap.
These are our monitoring spirits that are monitoring my vagina in the bathroom stall while being present and on the surface talking to someone else, giving their attention to someone else, and it's monitoring. It's monitoring.
This is gonna dry your hands. Ready?
This is P.O.C. In the path is the air dryer. P.O.C. All right, and I'm taking a screenshot so you'll see relevant positioning in the bathroom. And the fake sun is over the bathroom. And the military is stalking in planes and helicopters, monitoring my vagina with a sex offender talking to a child that's committing a sex offense. POC. Right. That's the enthusiastic audible activity of sex offenders that are monitoring. And the Upland police are maintaining the detail of vagina in a bathroom. That's the breakdown of literally what a psychopath is engaging in with children. You'll see the images of the hand dryers in alignment to the bathroom stall that sex offender already knew that I was inside of. They're all engaging in what is poisoning and then sitting and engaging in monitoring while I'm in the bathroom. This is the entity that engages in voyeurism while they stalk you and engage in experimentation on you. And this is that which is going to put Tracy Banks in a asylum. She's going to a mental asylum. Eric Spencer, Tommy Allen Banks, Jason Isaac Fields, demons that are not coming anywhere near me, stealing from me, poisoning as an entity. I'm not going to call your phone. You don't even have my number. Stealing my hygiene products because then you're hoping that I'll look less together or I'll smell like I'm not together. Whatever it is in your sick minds where you're all monitoring my vagina while you're all suffering with STDs that you can't cure because you've been having sex with each other and chanting my name. This is why you're not coming around me, because of your severe mental instability. I'm actually helping you. You need help, you need to be committed, and that's exactly what's happening from you monitoring me in the bathroom with the military with whom you thought that it was okay to experiment with my life. They are going to prison and so are you, and you're also going to give me all my money. You're going to prison for this. You did all this just to steal money and take my life. This is the entity that's engaged in that. So breakdown. The entity not only engaged in poisoning, Pizza Hut is cooperating with an entity that's stealing very specific items from me. Okay, so this is like I documented stealing my gloves while it's cold outside. Why would you do that? Oh, because they don't want you to see like a label on my clothes. They don't want me to look too put together. They don't want me to look too cute. That's what these demons that are obsessed with me are concerned about. And whether my nails are done, whether my knuckles are ashy, whether my whether my cuticles are moisturized, whether or not I even have holes in my gloves while I wear them and it's cold outside and I'm homeless and I am winning a criminal case against the United States government, I'm still winning a case against the United States government. And the entity that thinks that Nike gloves or poisoning my food so that you hope that I look mentally ill if I use the bathroom on myself. The entity is engaging in a pattern of targeting, and these are the tactics where the entity that's also mentally ill stalking in helicopters, they're going to be committed. You cannot manufacture mental illness, and it's never going to happen at this juncture in the evidence. This is targeting by Tracy Banks, who was harassing me, and she's a demon that's stalking at Woodside Senior Apartments, and this is an entity that's stealing hygienic products from me while they poison me, in the hopes that perhaps I am presenting differently, that you can then say, oh, look at her, you stole from me, and so I'm supposedly poor. You gang stalk me as a licensed attorney in order to stop hiring me, so the people of the state don't hire me, so then I'm supposedly a failure as a licensed attorney who's being targeted. This is how you are engineering what is your universe, where you're monitoring and obsessing and worshiping me under the fake sun, including my vagina in the bathroom with the demons that you give birth to. This is criminal activity pursuant to my vagina that Adam Tuckerman is keeping under surveillance. And there is no iteration of any facts that will ever serve to have I remain the federal prosecutor. I am the one that's responsible for your being committed. That's what's going to happen. The entity is stealing my hygienic products, poisoning my food while they sit up monitoring. They're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars by the hour on jet fuel, using planes and helicopters, listening to what I'm doing, what's going on between my legs, how am I reacting to what Pizza Hut put in my food. Alex is going to prison. Alex, you can see his image, and his name is on the receipt, and so is Pizza Hut. The license plates that are gang stalking, this is an entity engaging in coordinated conduct. So overnight, they stole my hygienic products. And why would you focus on something like that so random? Not looking for a wallet. Oh, because you know there's no money in it? You've already stolen my identity. You've stolen all my money. This is the entity that's targeting me at work so that I'm sleeping outside, where you've committed kidnappings, and then you think that kidnapping pursuant to what is targeting to put you in that oppressive state is going to provide you a warrant when I disregard some citation, which is a criminal act, and then some subsequent warrant. There's no warrant. You're going to prison. Michael Lowe's going to federal prison. Okay, this is the entity that engages in that combination, that series of events, and you are aware of that. That's why the entity is stalking me by helicopter. About every six hours, the entity is stalking by helicopter. All right, I'm capturing it on a daily basis, and sometimes it's leaving less than 6 hours. That's literally what the entity did. This is how bothered they are by me, because I don't stink, because I am put together very well, because it's not physical. You can't duplicate it. This is the entity that goes to these extreme lengths, and then you sat in a courtroom crying to a gang stalking judge talking about it's in your best interest that you steal all my money? That's what you said? You know you're getting committed, right? You're getting committed for these details regarding your psychosis, stealing and poisoning in the hopes of just getting satiated by the fact that I'm having digestive issues. Oh, and you can't clean yourself off now. Now you're going to smell like poo. Now you're going to be broke, busted, and disgusted. Now you're going to lose a federal case. No, and I will never be broke, busted, and disgusted. You've been, even when you stole my money, you're still broke, busted, and disgusted. Because that is not for me. That's you. And you cannot manufacture that, Jezebel. It's never going to happen. It cannot happen. This is why Jason Fields is never coming around me. Understand that. There's no job offer from a gang stalking government that's going to be presented. You cannot recruit me when I prosecuted you. This is an entity that's delusional. Like I won. The winner is not recruited. The winner is the one that's telling you your rights and what's going to happen to you. As a matter of justice. They're stalking in the bathroom, and they included a child. That's how sick they are. That's a communication of obsession. The entities engage in this while stealing understand how deliberate and very, that's how meticulously, the meticulous methods here, stealing, poisoning, and then stealing and hoping for a result. That's how threatened they are by me. That's how amazing the entity believes that I am. This is how obsessed with me they are. Okay, this is evidence speaking to the federal laws that are going to ban Tracy Banks, who's already going to prison for stalking me at Woodside Senior Apartments. She came into my presence. Jason Fields, he does the same. You're talking about specific laws that's going to put him in prison even longer. This is the warning right now. You are not a federal agent under the law. I'm documenting you. And you have what is no rights to be in my presence. I've already decreed this. This is the case. This is the law as far as he is concerned, as far as you are concerned. You are barred. If you come into my presence, you are going to prison. This is somebody Jason Fields belongs to, he needs to be committed. And this is the entity that is together intending this. Understand that. My point is that even the targeted individual, these are facts, this is knowledge, this is malice by a medical community. If you use the bathroom on yourself, not when the entity is poisoning you and then trying to steal from you and make you appear one way. That's trying to mechanically create that, engineer that. That's not mental illness. That's not even the inability to control your bladder. All right, but that's not what the entity has. The entity is engaging in engaged in all manner of pettiness. It's pathetic, it's criminal, it's perverted, it's psychotic. These are the fruits of obsession. And you know who's guilty, the ones that are stalking me in the planes at the Upland Public Library, the ones that are stalking me in helicopters, those that are very clearly, and you're going to compensate Pizza Hut, you're going to be prosecuted for very embarrassing things that are probably going to put you out of business, I'm pretty sure. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and this is the combination of facts behind a sex offender that comes in and behind the voice of a child is engaging in a gross sex act. This is the P.O.C. It's 10:48 a.m. The same names that I recited. Alan, who's under the 3 p.m. fake sun at 10 o'clock in the morning. Sheena and Carissa and Adam Tuckerman thus far. These are the demons that are going to prison behind vagina monitoring. They committed poisoning together. They anticipated me using the Upland Public Library restroom in order to sit around engaging in voyeurism and monitoring me. Oh, we stole her. Oh, now what's she going to do? And everybody's, this is how sick they are. That's why they're going to prison. It is always the formula for having you committed. That which you have done is not the evidence of mental illness, and the one that you have targeted is the federal prosecutor. You are being committed as surely as demons are pacing in and out of the male restroom and in and out of the adjacent employee doorways. You are being committed, and they are going to prison. This is P.O.C. It's 10:49 a.m. regarding bathroom monitoring pursuant to precipitating from poisoning by Pizza Hut, the corporation, which is the entity. This is P.O.C. I believe there's a child's restroom upstairs. The entity is targeting in this specific manner on purpose, so pay attention to that. There's a child's restroom upstairs. As I speak the truth, the inferior engage in that which I dictate as the truth. Remember that. It's 10:55 a.m. In the path? That's just pacing. That's the psychopathic pacing and activity creation. You come in, you open and close the door, flushing the toilet, moving around the toilet rolls, all manner of noise and engineer light under the fake sun. A whole library, a whole building, okay? Everybody on Euclid Avenue. The city of Upland is monitoring in a bathroom together, engaging in surveillance. That's what the helicopter activity is keeping you mindful of. While the entity is obsessing over my vagina, they're defunding themselves. They're going to compensate for an unprecedented sex offense, corporate invasion of privacy that is inclusive of their children who will be separated from them, that they are intentionally engaging in the sex offense with. Remember, as I speak the truth, the demons engage in it in real time. So this is applying to them sharing in the sex act with the kids. P.O.C. It says a lot. It speaks volumes that the entity is so invested in what's going on when I enter the bathroom, and they're supposed to be focused on trying to make me appear as though I'm mentally. What does that have to do with? Are you telling them what I do in the bathroom as a part of your testimony and establishing mental illness? No, they're not. And this is the evidence that's establishing their mental illness. Crossing path. Activity creation. Under the fake sun that's over the bathroom, while it remains over Frank Nieto's apartment at Woodside Senior Apartments. Okay, that's the third child brought in to engage in the sex act, while the entity listens to me speak the truth about them being child rapists who engage in sex acts with the children. That's the entity engaging in it in real time for you. That's 10:57 a.m. P.O.C. Alrighty, I just want to be clear, the entity that's engaging in psychopathic pacing, this is what they're doing by helicopter flying in circles. This is what they're doing by planes, plane after plane after plane. It exceeds stalking. The entity's engaging in stalking in a bathroom, and another after another after another is psychopathic pacing. The entity's engaging in this while they are the ones that, the demons that are literally entering are the ones that are stealing hygienic products. The entity together stole it and then engaged in what is monitoring in the bathroom, and this is what the psychopaths derive pleasure from. These are the demons that consume my feces. They are consuming my bodily fluids. They are seeking out my used tampons and pads. They are obsessed with my vagina. They engage in sex with each other while they obsess over me. This is what, in their deluded minds, their deranged minds, this is why you literally have defendants who have HIV. It's a part of prosecuting them and having them committed. While they engage in obsessing over me in a sexually perverted manner, they engage in what is targeting with regard to what in their minds makes me seem as though I'm not who I am because you poison me and then I have to go to the bathroom after you poison me. That's false logic. That's not the reality, but these are demons that are made comfortable by altering reality, okay? And this is how they are using things like the Baker Act. And this is what I'm telling you. Manipulation of circumstances is not the practice of medicine. That's what they're doing via the Baker Act. While you are stalking and keeping that out of, in surveillance and keeping that out of what you're using to engage in criminal defamation, which is this entity is engaging in, stealing my products, stealing things like my gloves. Those petty things have a significant purpose, which is revealing their minds that are deranged. It's revealing mental illness on their part. The entity's engaging in this, and you can never be any architect of trying to make me appear as one way or another. You don't have that level of control. You're not intelligent or capable enough. You are an obsessed stalker, and that is it. You're stalking in a bathroom. You are stalking in the bathroom. It does not get lower than that. But this is an entity that's engaging in it, I'm capturing it, and I'm prosecuting for it. This is criminal activity of the city of Upland, the state of California. This is nothing for Gavin Newsom to be proud of, and it is nothing that Gavin Newsom can live down or suppress either. Okay? It's 11:02 a.m. And you will see the light source as I capture it, as I walk out, showing you the confirmation of criminal activity in a bathroom. But you already know that that's the case, but I'm being thorough and diligent, and because the facts are always on my side and the facts are putting them in mental institutions. The mental illness that the entity suffers from is attended by sexual perversion. Okay, they have a particular type of mental illness. It's psychopathic and it's also sexually perverted. you're also mindful of, this is the entity. The mental illness that's being exposed is the mental illness that Tracy Banks suffers from. The entity that stole my identity and went into courtrooms and claiming that it was in my best interest that they be permitted under the quote-unquote law to steal from me and keep me in this position, being subject to gang stalking and vagina monitoring. The entity is being diagnosed through their own corrupt purposes, through their corrupt acts. This is letting you know about how far deranged Tracy Banks is, Eric Spencer is, Jason Fields is, okay? And they are being committed with the backfire of their own activity. This is them engaged. I just want to be clear, Jason Fields can't come and pace inside of the women's restroom. But the people of the state that Jason Fields is gang stalking me with and monitoring my vagina with, they do it on his behalf as one, okay? That's the P.O.C. They're all getting committed. They're not just going to prison for stealing and defaming my character. They're getting committed. They are going into mental institutions, and this is tangible evidence proving that is absolutely necessary for the protection of others, that Jason Fields, that the U.S. government, that the people of the state would target. The ability to be in a courtroom and lie and talk about my character while you are obsessed with me and who my true character is, to the degree that you try to steal my gloves while I'm homeless outside I'm perfectly fine, but for you bothering me and stalking me, you want to steal from me while I'm already outside, while I supposedly already don't have anything, and I'm still doing perfectly fine prosecuting you, and me having gloves, that is me looking well, me presenting well is what is bothering you in your demented mind. This is the entity that has conspired my murder. This is not private citizens entering into a women's restroom. This is the people of the state that stalk with impossible light, that stalk under a fake sun, that was still present here as I exited at 7 p.m. yesterday. This is an entity that's engaged in that, and I'm going to capture that evidence, that which supersedes the natural environment, because it's remaining over Woodside. So what are they entering the restroom under? And they're doing so also with complete knowledge of who I am and the status of my thighs being apart or being together, while they are engaging in pacing and stalking in a bathroom with children. P.O.C. Those that engaged in defaming my character, you're going to mental institutions. Is that part of is that what you did, Greg Hooper, Ruth Hooper, Ariana, Elena Lopez? Is that what you did? Because you're going to be committed. You're psychotic. And you've gone to far lengths regarding that which is never going to work with regard to actual mental illness. And because you went to that degree, because you perjured yourself, you did so pursuant to an entirely malicious pattern that is documented. I don't have to be in your face. I'm documenting you every day. And your lies are in conformity to a pattern. And stealing my hygienic products, that's not going to get it. But it's going to get you locked up in a mental institution. I promise you, this is what's happening. The entity is engaging in what is theft from also what is a homeless person. This is my status as a transient right now. So while you steal from me, it is not merely the dollar amount of that which you stole. This is the entity that's engaged in what is further oppression, all right? The entity that's engaged in that, and I'm letting you know their petty tactics and the purpose behind it. They're concerned about the way I look. Those that are listening, the way I look is not why you're all listening to me and witnessing the truth regarding what I speak. My face isn't even on camera. You're not looking at my face. And by the way, it doesn't matter what the target individual looks like. It doesn't matter whether they have gloves on or not. It doesn't matter whether they have an urge to use the bathroom or not. These are things that the entity is, that you're not diagnosed. Nobody's going to diagnose that. It's not happening, Satan. That's not happening. But you are satiating your psychopathic and obsessive purposes behind stalking me, though. That's what's being diagnosed and treated, and everyone sees that. While I go to the extent to make sure I expound upon in detail. Everybody look at that, analytically speaking. Everybody take a good look at that. Because you're going to pay me, Pizza Hut. That's the entity. You're going to pay me, people of the state who overnight stole my hygienic products. You knew exactly what pocket they were in. While I was sleeping, you knew what the pocket they were in. You knew where I was at. All right, you did so while you anticipate me having the urge to use the restroom the next day. That's an entity that's stalking and monitoring, the one that's following me around in planes and helicopters, including at this facility, the Upland Public Library, that has stalking going on in the bathroom. Adam Tuckerman's going to prison. He's going to federal prison, and he's going to be prosecuted as a pervert. There is no amount of pacing and ongoing stalking and harassment and ongoing tactics like this. It does not change the conclusion. The point is that this isn't even the practice of medicine or law. This is not going to do it. This is why you've been exposed as being corrupt. And you cannot rebut this evidence. You certainly are not going to rebut it through some back alley shadowy work with the criminals that are engaging in this. It's not going to work, and you can't embarrass me. I'm not embarrassed amongst a bunch of demons. You're the ones that are embarrassed. You're the ones that are obsessed with me using the bathroom. Don't make me get into the details about how you're obsessed with everything about me. Everything. Things that you are humiliated to mention. But you know and I know how obsessed you are. It's to a sick degree. Eating my bodily fluids, seeking them out, that's you. The demons that are stalking in the bathroom, the demons that are lying on my character, the demons that are stalking in helicopters, the demons that have been monitoring me since I was a child, stealing my diapers, feasting on my feces. That's what you've been doing, Tracy. That's what y'all been doing. That's the reality. I'm not making up anything. That's why you're spending millions of dollars on stalking me. You are the one that's going to regret gang stalking me in a bathroom and poisoning me because you're getting committed behind this. This is your humiliation ritual. This is P.O.C. It's 11:09 a.m. This is amplified audible activity while the serial stalkers and the employees are pacing in and out of the male restroom. That's called relevant positioning. The entire Upland Public Library is designed for the sex offense of monitoring genitalia, stalking a woman while you invade her privacy as a whole public entity. The library is being shut down. The entities engaging in this while they are monitoring pursuant to what is a battery committed as an entity poisoning my food, which is acted upon by Pizza Hut, the corporation. That is a threat to the public while they poison me in furtherance of a failed tactic, which is never going to stop an investigation. It doesn't invalidate all the facts gathered. It doesn't change that you're stalking by helicopter. It's not touching any of the substance of a case. Neither is it the practice of any medicine. This is an entity. There will be no legitimate, there's no court case where you're speaking on my character at all. That has already been exposed. You are engaging in this while you are anticipating being raided, you're anticipating going to prison, you're anticipating being committed, because you know now everybody else knows that you're mentally ill. The entity is mentally ill while they're stalking in bathrooms. This is what is wrong with those that are defaming my character in the medical profession. They're psychotic and they have a sexually perverted aspect to their mental illness. And they're in the medical field engaging in criminal defamation under the Baker Act. This is what's wrong with those that are stalking as police departments. They are mentally ill and they have a sexually perverted aspect to that mental illness. This is an entity that is hostile and they engage in this. This is how you have whole companies engage in poisoning. Ontario police were stalking at Reliable Properties when I then went into Pizza Hut who poisoned my food, and overnight the entity that knows exactly what pocket my hygienic products are in and stole them in anticipation of my vagina being in a bathroom where they are stalking now under the fake sun, which I'm going to show. It is currently 11:15 a.m. This is the P.O.C. The entity is subject to prison as a matter of justice, and you're subject to what are being put in a mental institution against your will as a matter of protection of the public. This is the type of torture and tactics that an entity engages in to criminally defame and kidnap someone in a mental institution. And then those gang stalking medical professionals that are targeting you are the ones that are making money by prescribing you medication that you don't need, keeping you as a patient that you are not actually, while they've engaged in what is defaming your character, while they're keeping under surveillance and then stating that the information that they gain through that surveillance is establishing that you're mentally ill. This entity doesn't even have that. You're just straight up and down stalking. You're stalking in a bathroom. That's evidence regarding your deranged mindset and that you're a sex offender and you are stalking while you're engaging in surveillance in places like a bathroom. And while you engage in that conduct as a population of the mentally ill who are surrounding sex offenders. This is an entity that is hostile while the evidence, it's very clear what the motive is. They've been embarrassed on YouTube, on Google. Google itself is hostile toward me because I'm prosecuting Google. This is how a corporation is able to physically act in your life, because a corporation is a legal fiction. So that legal fiction isn't acting against you. It does as an agency Those acting as that entity, this is how the government is able to get into your life. The entity itself, all right, is one that is acting physically through the people of the state that make up corporations that are able to affect you. And I'm able also to reach out and affect you. I'm affecting you. I'm prosecuting you. I'm exposing you. And messing with my digestive tract, that's just going to put you in prison. That's it. I have my receipts regarding where I ate last night, and you're going to prison. You're going to federal prison. And by the way, it's very imprudent because it's very clear where I am, what happened, everything about it. You're going straight to prison. This is an entity that's more obsessed with me than they are intelligent. This is nonetheless P.O.C. It's 11:17 a.m. I'm going to capture video of the fake sent over me. This is relevant evidence regarding what is already on the record, but I'm punctuating the entity poisoning me and stalking in the bathroom pursuant to poisoning and the way in which they're stalking in the bathroom with children, okay? This is speaking to martial law, the policies that are established for the gang stalking population. It's 11:17 a.m. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is the location where I've been inside of the stall, and what I have been doing is showing how it's stalking in the path. While you can see their feet, they're in the direct path. They're gang stalking using the hand dryer, which is audible activity in the path, and the fact that it's in a bathroom, the use of a toilet, your genitalia entailed, your privacy violated, while they're on the opposite side of the wall pacing in and out of the male restroom, which is amplified in volume. The demon possessed are exhibiting their mental illness while they are engaging in the pattern of conduct also in a bathroom. This is the mental illness that has that sexually perverted aspect to it, and the entity did so with minor children. The entity did so following poisoning committed by Pizza Hut. Okay, they're doing so in the specific environment. Remember, the fake son is here as I documented during the 7 a.m. hour. I captured video at 7:19 a.m. and the entity engaged in what is pacing the evidence of targeting my vagina and targeting me upon committing a battery as an entity. It is indeed P.O.C. Anthony's right in the path upon walking out. He's monitoring my vagina. This is indeed the P.O.C. You see this old white man? He's a sex offender, monitoring vagina. The evidence is on the floor. It's right here over my head here. Okay, this is indeed the P.O.C. The entity is engaging in what is targeting in the restroom and doing so with minor children. And they do so, like I've already stated, as I speak to the entity stalking by helicopter, the entity in real time begins stalking by helicopter. As I document the entity that's going to be committed, like David Siegler, whose mental illness is exhibited while you are targeting in the medical field in the most malicious manner with the that which is sanctioned by literally the government under the Welfare and Institutions Code, the Baker Act, the ways in which terrorists like David Siegler are able to criminally defame, like San Bernardino County, who is stalking. The entity is engaging in what is exhibiting their mental illness, and it is the formula for what is being committed, right? Right here. It's a means of amplified audible activity. Anthony's leaving it open. Typically, they're closing it. He's a demon who is aware of what I'm doing behind him. He's a psychopath. Okay. He is targeting in a bathroom, like they all are, and this is the evidence of the entity engaging in poisoning together, stealing my hygienic products then, and in order to anticipate my vagina being in the bathroom where they can engage in what is their sex act committed as one in concert with children who share in that sexually violent ritual, inclusive of the government that's using planes and helicopters and police vehicles and fire trucks and ambulances while they're engaging in surveillance as an entity. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and this is how obsessed they are being next to you, all right? But diverting your attention to the seeds under the fake sun that's remaining at Woodside Senior Apartments. Those are the lesbians that are engaging in vagina monitoring. Lesbians give birth to children every day. They're demon possessed. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 11:22 a.m. This is the entity that's going to prison. All right, the entity is going to federal prison for that which I'm documenting, that which is exceeding what is on the books under the law, and that's because the government is the criminal. And so this is necessarily establishing what is justice when the government conspires your murder and seeks to do so by stealing from you, oppressing you, and defaming your character in doing so. Okay, under that fake sun, they're entering in with knowledge of who I am and what's going on in the bathroom stall. This is the P.O.C. All right, it is currently, by the way, 11:22 a.m. where the fake sun is still here, as I'm documenting yesterday at this intersection, D Street and Euclid, after 7 p.m. While I'm here at 7 a.m. on video, 7:19 a.m., and I'm documenting on what is D Street and Euclid at this corner, the fake sun is still over me at 7:19 a.m. Okay, that's the entity that's engaged in vagina monitoring, and this is the entity that does so with regard to failing at obstructing justice and failing at what is stopping an investigation. And the entity, to be frank, they're not interested in that. These are demons that want to do violence and want to do harm because they feel better when they engage in harming other people. This is why martial law is necessary. Those are terrorists as they act as a community with that mindset. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 11:23 a.m. I just want you to see as I move around from window to window, so does the fake sun. The lesbian that went into the women's restroom is not having the same experience. As I move to this window, so does the fake sun. And this is the position of the fake sun at 5 o'clock in the evening. As I move around, the sex offenders that are already in location over here are monitoring. This is targeting. And they're doing so, and I'll show you the fake sun. All right, this is the P.O.C. right here. And that's the entity that engages in that, okay? This is the P.O.C. Engineer light is on the desk. And this is the entity that's engaged in this. The entity's keeping it at Woodside Senior Apartments, okay? So you're going to prison as a serial stalker. You're going to prison as a violent sex offender. And then on top of that, they're rude and disrespectful. This is also why you're going to prison, because that's the government. All right, this is the P.O.C. The entity is stalking by helicopter at this same window. They're going to prison. This is the P.O.C. Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in that, and that's the fake sun remaining over a building. It's not going to be at Woodside Senior Apartments. It wasn't yesterday, and it's not today, and it's also defiance of science while that's the case. And the entity exhibits mental instability while they are forced to maintain their role, act like nothing's happening. And while you continuously act like nothing's happening amongst the supernatural, there is your invitation to involuntary commitment. This is P.O.C. It is 11:24 a.m. This is a public message because I do not have any privacy, and also because the people who were closest to me in my life sought to murder me and steal from me and ruin my reputation. So it's not just that they were disloyal to me for money, which is bad, but it's that it was personal and they hate me to the core. And that's why they wanted to destroy my character and take my life through what is a government system that is federal group stalking and monitoring, gang stalking, as the ordinary person would refer to it. This is to Tracy Banks, Eric Spencer. This is to Tracy Banks's husband, Jason Fields, who is some sick way engaged in targeting. He's not my family. He's not, Tracy Banks isn't my family either. She's a relative. Jason Fields has engaged in some sort of fraudulent connection for money. And this is to him as well. This is to all of them. This is the entity, but the ones closest to me includes Eric Spencer and Tracy Banks. These two, and this goes to everyone. Okay, those that would never even call my phone, you can't, because you literally don't have my number. I know, and it's known, that surveillance is the other way. So you could call the Wi-Fi number that I have, but you're not going to because you are a fool. You're all fools, but you're not foolish enough to admitting to monitoring me. So I don't expect any phone calls from you, and that's good, because they're not welcome. The entity, which is you, who are still targeting, you have no entryway into my life. Jason Fields is permanently blocked for ever having engaged in any sexual activity. I don't care about any abuse you were subject to as a child. Clearly, my life wasn't perfect. It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse to murder, kill, stab, rape kids. It's not an excuse to do any of that. And to be frank with you, were I zealously advocating on behalf of my client who was subject to this, do you think that I would give two raccoons about your childhood issues when you are gang stalking my client? The answer is no. Okay, and that's an obvious one. The entities engaging in targeting, and this is a public message and it's for my protection, that everyone know that Tracy Banks and Eric Spencer, who have both engaged in violating my rights, conspiring my murder, and stealing from me my entire life, and also are still doing so while the entity stalked me by helicopter. Tracy is still engaged in the criminal endeavor to take my life. Tracy Banks is engaged in that as one who is mentally ill, and she calls herself practicing witchcraft. She is a Jezebel spirit. I have expounded very explicitly about her mental instability, which is premised upon sexual reckless behavior, which she surmises is giving her spiritual authority, and you see where that got her. It's getting her committed. She is not spiritually authoritative. It does not work against a child of God, but it's also giving you perspective. How magical are you actually? Or are you just a demon who is in darkness? And all the others that you have come against are those that also do not know the Lord. But under the law, you don't have a right to engage in taking anybody's life and then using witchcraft to cover it up. You don't have a right to engage in any of that. Neither does the government. via you. Tracy Banks and Eric Spencer, Jason Isaac Fields are, and everybody else. You perjured my name. I used to attend a fake church with you, not knowing that you were demons. I went to school with you. I worked with you. There will be no future conversation. The only exchange will be in a courtroom when I'm testifying against you. And a lot of that testimony is through this evidence, the P.O.C, which is published for the world to witness, because that is the case, and that is necessarily the case when the government has tried to kill you and then defame your character. This is speaking the truth regarding a government act that is fully 100% disproven. Okay. In other words, it's proven that the government has engaged in a criminal act against me. Okay, in every regard. Tracy Banks is never being permitted in my presence, and the responses that which Tracy Banks, a monitoring spirit, has been trying to accomplish. She is engaged in monitoring, so in other words, she is spiritually attacking. So is this entity that's gang stalking me, but Tracy's a part of that entity, and I want to make it abundantly clear, there's no beating around the bush. There's no gang stalker on YouTube that you're speaking through that's going to help you. Nobody can help you, nobody but Christ Jesus. And I hope that you repent soon, because but for your inability to repent, this is why you're blocked, and this is why there will not be any phone call. I'm not here to help you get out of a federal prosecution. I'm here to oversee that prosecution. And this is why you are still trying to harm me. You're still targeting, and in the face of being shown by the Lord God himself that you should probably have a couple seats and stop trying to stand up. You're not standing up on anything. You have nothing to stand on. And you made the very key mistakes that were necessary in order to assure your downfall. It is absolutely necessary, and it is proof of your guilt and malice to have ever spoken ill on my name and my character. And that needed to be known, and everyone knows who you are by virtue of anything that you say negative against me. They already know that you're gang stalking me, because there is nothing that you can say regarding anything that I've done, especially those that are in my family. This is an entity that has done so with regard to conspiring my murder, defaming my character, also not only to steal from me through the corrupt purposes of things like the Baker Act, but also because the entity doesn't want to have anything ill said about them. And so when you're speaking out, when you're prosecuting, remember, Tracy Banks is working as a third party. She's the government that doesn't want you to believe that it is targeting me, that it's engaged in unlawful and inhumane experimentation, that it's just a conspiracy theory by an HIV patient who goes around recklessly having sex with people and infecting everybody, who is a prostitute, who's a drug addict, who's a child rapist. That's why the government has defamed my character and did so through the people of the state. Who are those who were closest to me, and you are all blocked. Stealing my hygiene products, poisoning my food. This is very obvious, but you are so sick that you stoop to these levels when you honestly and earnestly, I know you would like to speak to me, and that's exactly why it's not going to happen. This is exactly why it's not going to happen. Okay? I pray that you repent, and that you repent sooner than later, because you have a lot to fear, more than a raid, more than federal prison, and more than being committed. You have an appointment with the Lord God, and it's not going to be pretty. Whether you can appreciate that or not, that's the truth. You are not permitted under any circumstances to ever come around me. And this is public information, because you threaten my life. And this is the means whereby you will receive the message while you are keeping me under surveillance. Alrighty, this is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging that. This is the entity that is failing. And this is the entity that's engaging what is retaliation. You call that retaliation while you monitor me in a bathroom. That's only in the mind of a sex offender that's obsessed with you. Okay? No, you absolutely cannot come around me. That goes for Jason, the one that you've had sex with. You're never coming around me by virtue of that. But you've done way more than that disgusting thing. And any past harms that you've suffered, that's not my problem. You are my problem, trying to take my life, stealing my money. I'm sleeping outside. Where in the sane mind that you don't have do you think I'm actually going to have a conversation with you? I've said this before. It was never going to happen, and it is not going to happen. And there is no act of retaliation that changes that fact. And it's also the reason why you are blocked, and you're never going to get around that. You're never getting around that. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 12:04 p.m.